Welcome. It is time for Constitution Study Television. I am your host, Douglas V. Gibbs. Welcome to my studio. And we're here to talk about the U.S. Constitution. And I want to talk about education. Part of what brought this up, and I kind of went over this at my last Constitution Association meeting, constitutionassociation.com, if you'd like to learn more about the 501c3 or donate to our cause, is the California Sex Education Program, which has been, for lack of a better word, absolutely disgusting. That said, what did the founders think education, public education, should it be paid for by government? Should it be designed or controlled, or should the standards be established by government? And if not, then by whom? So that's our questions. Thomas Jefferson, I think his attitude and what I've learned about him, I think establishes what the founders, or at least the laissez-faire limited government founders thought about education. I'm sure that Hamilton or somebody like that may have had some differing opinions, but Jefferson, I think, epitomized the majority opinion. And Jefferson's attitude was, first of all, that education was very important. In fact, James Madison said that a society that's not educated is not capable of freedom. So education was important to these guys. And Thomas Jefferson believed in, matter of fact, public schooling. He believed there should be a school every so many miles. And he tried to establish that. Now, his efforts didn't work out, but now, what did he want? What did he mean by public school? Like what we have today? Absolutely not. What Jefferson believed, first of all, is that the purpose of school was to teach the children math, arithmetic, reading, and government. The Constitution. Their government. Because if they don't know their government, how are they going to be able to keep the republic? So, first of all, that's what the curriculum was supposed to be. So I have a feeling that the Founding Fathers would have a real problem with some of the topics we now teach our children, multiculturalism, California's sex education program, and so on and so forth. That said, what about the basic setup, the establishment of education? How should it work? He believed that the state government, not the federal government, but the state government should pay for the education. It should be tax dollars from the states that should pay for the education, but that the standard or the control of the education and the institution of education in each area should be controlled by those who are most influenced by it and who should have the most influence, namely parents. So in other words, he wanted state funding, not state as in government funding, but the state, Virginia or whatever the state is, and local community control. You know, I tell people, I say, it's amazing because this country became the greatest country in the world with the little red schoolhouses controlled and paid for and teachers hired by the local community. Little red schoolhouses, what led this. And have you seen those things come through the email where it's like a test for a sixth grader, back then in the 1800s, and today's college students couldn't pass it. Education was a whole different deal back then. So Thomas Jefferson believed that there should be schools, that schools were very important, we need to educate our kids, but that the curriculum would be controlled by the parents and the local community, not the government, state or federal. And notice federal government has no allowance to even have funding involved. Why? Because then they can start there would be a tendency for the federal government to start dictating, and the federal government's job was not internal stuff anyway. Federal government was designed for the external issues and things like that. So education is important. Jefferson believed it should be paid for by each individual sovereign state, California, Arizona, Virginia, New York, but that the curriculum should be controlled by the parents. Now, with the new sex ed in California, what we're seeing is that the school boards, the teachers, the unions are doing, ACLU, Planned Parenthood, all these organizations that are involved in the sex education program are doing whatever they can to cut the parents out. to make sure that the parents don't have a say. Because, and in California, there are actually now laws that are coming in that the child's rights supersede those of the parents. So there's even situations they're talking about now where if like a child brings home another child and goes into the room and locks the door, that the parents don't have a right to have a problem with that because it would be infringing on the child's right. They're in California, they're even talking about spiritual rights. You know, if you try to push your religion on your poor child and if they disagree, well, that's a spiritual right infringement. So, yeah, it's getting a little nuts because government's involved in the schooling. Government's involved in the curriculum. Government's dictating. Totally against what the founders originally intended. Now, the Constitution itself does not mention education. What that means is it's none of the federal government's business and that the states can be involved. But the states should not be setting up the curriculum. They should not be cutting the parents out of the picture. Parental rights is a big deal. Parental rights should be secured by government. But they're not being secured by government. So anyway, that's my take on education. If you got any comments, comment below. If you have the desire, you say, wow, you know, this guy's videos, I like this, subscribe. If you want to be notified when a new video comes out, right next to the subscription bar there's a bell. See the bell right there? That's for notifications. By the way, these books that you see on my side here, those are my books. That's Aristotle, John Locke's 2 Treatises of Government, and a couple books about Plato or from Plato. Aristotle and John Locke being 2 of my favorite historical writers. I love Cicero and all that. We need to be educated on that stuff because while those who oppose the Constitution are adamant about change at any cost, my attitude is you don't fix what ain't broke and you'll learn from history. Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Hence the reason we need to be educated. Educated correctly. Thanks for watching. DouglasVGibbs.com, PoliticalPistachio.com. And if you want to help fund this or my radio program, I'm on KMET 1490 AM. And we're down to 1 advertiser, so we're looking for funding. Donate at my websites, DouglasVGibbs.com or PoliticalPistachio.com. There's a yellow donate button on each of those sites. Hit that. Become a monthly donor or put a single amount. It really helps because I'm not getting paid a salary to do this. But there are still expenses, and everything I do is completely covered by folks like you. $5, $10, $20 a month, a week, once, whatever. It really helps. Also, I do have 7 books I've written, the most recent being A Promise of American Liberty. So go on Amazon, look up Douglas V. Gibbs books, and you can find my 7 books, or go to DouglasVGibbs.com and find the books section, and there's a description of each book on that website, as well as links. Until next time, united we stand, combined we kick butt. God bless America. God bless you. Where we go one, we go all. Thanks for watching. Stay patriotic. Stay safe. And as always, stay constitutional. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.